he's repeating Reiner's words. I've said this in my reviews before, but I have a huge fear. Eren will become what he hates. It's been hinted at for quite some time. Through the one thing that plays in my mind the most often is when he says about Armin, and he argues against Levi, saying Armin should be the one that should be saved. And one of the things he says is that Armin has dreams. All I have in my mind is hate. And that hit me like a freaking ton of bricks. And I was like, oh. And it made me think of that quote about staring into the abyss. If you stare long enough, the abyss will stare back into you. It's basically talking about becoming the monster. And yeah, it's been hinted at for a long time, so it's been something I've been worried about, which is why I was so happy to find out they're infiltrating this world, and maybe they could take out the people responsible for the war without killing innocents. Like, I don't want them to just do what Reiner and them did. Don't just fucking do the same thing and blast through killing everyone in your wake. Like, that's not right either. And I realized they were infiltrating. That gave me hope that things won't turn out the same way. But this and his words here, mirroring what Reiner told him and seeing how Reiner turned out, well. By the way, one thing I want to say about punishment and reform to the people who hate whenever I talk about Reiner and them being held accountable for their actions. Punishment and reform can, if done right, help people. Like rehab. You think a person that is addicted to drugs or alcohol or whatever, do you think that they want to be confined in a rehab space and be forced to, their freedom gets taken away, they're not allowed to drink or take drugs and blah, blah, blah. You think that's not punishment and reform? It is. And it helps people. Being addicted to drugs or addicted to alcohol, you hurt yourself, you hurt others. You're a danger to... Good night, Hanku. You're a danger to not only yourself, but others. So punishment and reform and being held accountable for your actions is not a bad thing. And yeah, of course it sucks. You know, most people aren't... You could argue that they're not responsible for their addictions. For example, you know, many people, addictions also have to do with your genetics and your personality, and it's not necessarily something, you don't choose to become an addict either. Obviously, it's not the exact same situation, but I'm just trying to give similes here to make you understand my point, where when you talk about punishing someone for doing something wrong, even if it wasn't their choice, and reform, it's not about, oh, I think Reiner deserved to die because he killed people. Like, you're hearing that, but I've never said that. Someone last week commented about, oh, I should find the screenshot and read it, because I took a screenshot and read it in the review, because they were honestly being ridiculous. They were arguing about something. I remember last week when I stood up for Reiner, I felt like, oh my God, why is he saying this? And then I paused and I was like, wait, what if he's saying this because he wants to protect this kid? And I said that. I'm not making it up. I said it in the last video. I can point to where I said it. And someone actually commented and bitched on me and said, why didn't you think of this? All you say is you want Reiner to die. And I'm like, where did I say that? People are really crazy. Like, literally, I said the opposite. I said what you're saying you wanted me to say. So maybe just hold up a minute, calm down, and listen to what I said. Because anyway, I want to read this again. Most people are pushed by something, forced to march into hell. You know, life. Shit happens. Like I said, when they broke through the wall the first time, it was definitely different. I realized that working through the initial anger, like, oh my God, they killed thousands of people, blah, blah, blah. After I realized, you can read these thoughts through my notes if you want more in-depth, a more in-depth visual of the process my mind went through. From there on, you can't just always hang on to to the idea that you didn't have a choice, you didn't have a choice. Okay, but that something wasn't their choice, their situation, or others made them do it. And this is what worries me. But people who push their own backs see a different kind of hell. It might be hope. It may even be another hell. At least, you know, he was aware of that. It may be another hell. Only those who keep moving forward will ever know. But the problem here is you can't just keep pushing forward without, like, clearly Annie and Marcel, based on what I could see in this episode, they doubted what they were doing. Maybe if given more time, they would have come to the realization they could ask for help. They didn't have to do what they were told to do. Maybe the people inside the walls aren't who we think we are. Maybe we should first stake out, look, maybe, you know, there's like, I mean, look what Grisha was taken into the walls. I mean, they didn't know about that, but my point is just that those two clearly thought of something different. And instead, things worked out pretty shitty. Ymir ate Marcel and Reiner went a bit crazy and Annie wanted to go back, but then Reiner, like she said, intimidated them or whatever. But maybe if they... Let me find my words here. Only those who keep moving forward will ever know. Maybe if they didn't push forward through their doubts, maybe if they just hovered on their doubts for a little longer, they could have, even after their initial wall breakthrough, clearly they felt guilty about it still after that. If they just hovered on that doubt, instead of just pushing forward, eventually falling down a fucking cliff, they could have just saved their own life, saved many people's lives by saying, coming clean and saying, listen, we did this, we feel we didn't have a choice. Who knows how it would have turned out? I'm not saying it would have turned out right for them, but they did have other choices, and this worries me. It's too much like Reiner and too little doubt there. This makes me worried. I see things happening that I don't want to happen. So I want to see the preview. Who's this? Maga sorts out the military for the Tiber family to tell the truth. Is that the Tiber family? Oh, okay, probably. As the festival enlivens the city, part of me was like, is this Armin? No. But could Armin be from that line? He looks too old to be Armin. I don't know how old they're supposed to be at this point. I forget. They were what, 15, 16? And then 4 years passed, so they're like 18, 19? From one hand to another. Okay, so I'm quickly going to score the episode and then I will talk about the rest in my review. I ended up talking about things more than I would have liked to in this episode. I wanted to keep most of it for my review, but yes, I wasn't able to do that. I would give the story a 9, characters a 9.3. I loved learning a little bit more about Annie and Marcel and Reiner and Bertolt as well. More from them. It doesn't change much for me as much as I'm sure a lot of people want, but it doesn't change all that much in terms of my opinions. But I feel like people have a very weird idea of my opinions, want me to die because of those opinions. Okay. Visuals, I would say another 8.5. Audio, 8.5. Enjoyment, or in this case, investment. How invested did I feel in the story? Clearly, very. I think it's very interesting. You kind of lose yourself completely in this world when you watch Attack on Titan, which is clear when you see how some people react to people having different opinions. Sometimes their reality and their hate is, maybe they feel like this is so real to them that Like, because I get it. Sometimes I can get really worked up when I'm watching an episode. But, you know, afterwards, I go back to, okay, this is real life. And I feel people sometimes get so lost in this that anything diverging from what they think and what is real to them and what is right to them, then they totally kind of take it as a personal attack, which it's not meant to be. But yeah, I think that attests to the stories. Bless you. I think that I don't know if attests is the right word, but let me just double check. Attests. Bless you. That serves as clear evidence of how good the story is in terms of pulling us viewers in. So for that, I'm going to give a 9, which gives us a total 8.9 for the episode, for episode 3. Ending with Aaron's words, because clearly that's Aaron. 90% sure that's his voice. 94% sure. That part has me very worried, but I've been worried for a while. And I talked about that at the very end of my review for the last episode. I talked a bit about my theories or predictions, and I mentioned it back then. So yeah, the more I watch, the more I feel like that's going to become a reality, but I will still hope that someone will break the wheel. That's a Game of Thrones reference, but don't become what you hate. That's also a Game of Thrones. I'm thinking of Game of Thrones because all of that happened and I don't want it to happen Attack on Titan 2. But we'll see. Okay. Thank you guys for watching with me. I'm going to upload this. Mike is going to edit it, upload it to YouTube, and we'll post as soon as possible. I'm now going to take a 10-minute breather and then do my review. Bye.